Right now, there's a number living rent-free in your head. It's the number where you'd finally feel rich, where the money stress just stops. Everybody's got one. Go ahead, think of yours. Got it? Okay. I'm about to show you the real number, the one Americans actually name in 2026, and then I'm going to show you something genuinely strange. The people who hit that number mostly still don't feel rich at all. So the real question isn't, what's the rich number? It's, why does the rich number keep running away from everyone who chases it? And by the end of this, you're going to understand the trap and the one definition of rich that actually stops the chase. Here's how we're going to do it. We're going to climb the ladder of wealth in America, one rung at a time, and I'll tell you exactly what each rung costs. Ready? Start climbing. If you like money truth with zero fluff, subscribe, because this is the video that finally makes rich make sense. Rung 1. Comfortable. Not rich, just comfortable. The rung where you stop lying awake, doing math about bills. So what does that cost? According to the big National Wealth Survey, the average American says you need a net worth of about $839,000 just to feel financially comfortable. Not rich comfortable. And here's your first jolt. That number went up from the year before, because rising costs make even a big cushion feel thin. So the bottom rung of this ladder just, I'm okay. I don't panic about money already costs the better part of $1 million. Keep climbing. Rung 2, the top 10%. Now we're getting somewhere. This is the rung where, statistically, you're beating 90% of the country. Surely this is rich, right? To crack the top 10% of American households by net worth, you need roughly $1.8 million, or an income around 210 grand a year. Let that sink in. Being a plain old millionaire doesn't even get you onto this rung anymore. The $1 million dream that your grandparents worshipped? Today, it's not the top. It's barely the middle of the climb. Keep going. Rung 3. Wealthy. This is the big one. The actual rich number Americans name out loud. When people are asked point blank what net worth makes you wealthy in 2026, the answer comes back at about $2.3 million. That's the number in the national head. And funny thing, it actually dropped a little from a couple years ago when people said 2.5 million, because everyone's quietly recalibrating what's even possible. So there it is. The rich number, 2.3 million. But here's where the climb gets weird, because we've reached the top of the ladder, and I need to show you what's actually up here. Almost nobody standing on these rungs feels rich. I'm serious. Ask six-figure earners, people making great money, and a stunning number of them say a six-figure salary no longer feels like wealth at all. A big chunk describe themselves as being in flat-out survival mode, one surprise bill away from chaos. People who look wealthy on paper feel broke in their gut. How is that possible? Because the ladder has a cruel secret. There is no top rung. Rich isn't a fixed spot. It's always defined as a little bit more than you currently have. Watch how this plays out. Different generations name totally different rich numbers. Younger folks say around 1.7 million, older folks say closer to 2.8. Why? Because the more you have, the more it takes to feel like enough. And where you stand changes everything too. In a place like San Francisco, people say you need over 4 million just to feel wealthy, nearly triple what feels rich in a small town. Same word. Wildly different rung. So every time someone climbs to their rich number, a strange thing happens. The number climbs too. You get the raise, the promotion, the bigger house, and your definition of rich quietly floats up to match. It's called lifestyle creep, and it's why a person making 80 grand and a person making 800 grand can both genuinely feel like they're just getting by. The ladder doesn't end, it just keeps adding rungs above your head. And there's the gap that makes it almost cruel. The typical American household has a net worth of around $200,000. The wealthy number is 2.3 million. So, the finish line most people are chasing sits more than 10 rungs above where they're standing, and every time they climb, it moves. No wonder everyone feels behind. The game is designed so almost nobody ever feels like they've won. So, is there any way off this ladder?
Yes, and it's the whole point of this video.
You get off the ladder by throwing out the net worth definition of rich and using a better one. Here it is. You're rich the day your money earns more than you spend without you working. That's it. Not a magic million. Not a number you brag about. The moment your investments, or your savings, or whatever you've built, quietly cover your life on their own. That's the day you're free. And here's the beautiful part. Someone with modest needs in a cheap state can hit that finish line with far less than someone with a mansion and 3 car payments will ever need. Rich isn't the size of the pile. It's the size of the pile compared to the life you actually want. Which is exactly why, when Americans were asked recently what wealth even means to them, the single most common answer wasn't money at all. It was happiness. Right behind it, health. People are quietly figuring out that the number was never the thing. The freedom was the thing. The number was just one way to buy it. So that number living rent-free in your head, you don't have to hit 2.3 million to evict it. You just have to shrink the gap between what your life costs and what your money brings in, and you can attack that from both sides. Earn a little more, yes, but also need a little less, and plant yourself where your dollars stretch. Do that, and one day the money stress stops not because you hit some magic figure, but because you finally outbuilt your own life. That's rich, the real kind. Now, we just spent this whole video talking about the top of the ladder. But there's a question that's honestly scarier and way more relatable. What does the average American actually have on the bottom rungs? Because that number is a lot smaller than you'd ever guess, and that's the next video.